بسم الله. خلاص. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Tonight's lesson, we start a new chapter or a new book, which is the 21st book of the book, the 21st chapter of the book. And it is one of the most important books in the study of fiqh. And it is one of the chapters of discussion which takes a big part of the second half of one's studies concerning fiqh. Fiqh is generally split down the middle with regards to ibadat and then mu'amalat. The ibadat obviously being salah, janaiz, zakah, siyam, hajj, umrah. Naam. And then the mu'amalat, the dealings, the transactions, the moving and the shaking, buying and selling, marriage, divorce, which is also a type of ibadat, but contractual. Naam. Wills, inheritance, naam. Loaning, financing, so on and so forth, investments, etc. Mu'amalat, the dealings, okay? So the fiqh that you're going to study is going to be, in most cases, those are the two halves, ibadat and mu'amalat, okay? All right. And of course, both are important. And for some people, the ibadat, without any doubt, is going to be most, going to take precedence. But it doesn't mean that we neglect and ignore the mu'amalat, all right? And many brothers, many of us, we were only overseas for such a short period of time. We didn't get a chance except to scrape and scratch the surface of ibadat. And we come back to the United States with insufficient knowledge on your business or your investment, your barbershop, your restaurant, your car company, your this company, your this 401k, your retirement, etc., 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 your mortgage, and so on and so forth, right? So the student of knowledge, when he's overseas, so I'm not talking about any other country, but talking about the United States right now, is no doubt when you're overseas, you have no time for nothing else but studies. You don't have no time for real, for recreation and fun and laughing and joking. Of course, you're a human being. The recreation is important. It recreates, it gives you that, that charge. You're a human, you're going to have some social dealings, but you don't have time when you're overseas in Medina to be hanging out every day and laughing and joking, going to the gym, going to Burger King, going to Hardee's, going to KFC or Pizza Hut. You don't have time. And that's because you have to crunch your studies. You have to go back. And you can't just go back talking about salah and wudu. But you also have to guide and lead your community to the mu'amalat. Let alone if you're overseas, spending your time on haram things, chasing girls in the mall. Nah? Getting Saudi girls' numbers. Or sleeping with Saudi girls. Catching girls in Saudi, in Medina, in Jeddah, in Riyadh, literally. Or refuting people. Talking about people, making tabdi' on people, warning from scholars. This brother's a this, he's a that, he's a this, he's a that. Or you're overseas in Islamic University of Medina as a businessman. You're making political connections and alliances and doing business and this and that. How are you studying? Where are you finding the time for Quran, for Lughah, for Tajweed, for fiqh and this? Where are you finding the time? And who's waiting for you when you get back? And what are you bringing back to your community and to your people? Solid knowledge? Or some pity-pat, Mickey Mouse, flimsy type of ilm? Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan. And a person is barely, as I said, barely scratching the surface of tahara, of zakat, barely scratching the surface of janaiz, let alone mu'amalat, buying and selling. And of course, we don't have to spend any more time speaking on the importance and the necessity of money and life, let alone in Islam, And how so many different acts of worship in Islam are based off of what? No doubt about that. Hajj is based off of what? Initially, primarily. Umrah. Jihad fi sabilillah. Seeking knowledge. Marriage. And the list goes on and on and on and on of so many different spiritual acts of worship are based off of financial, economic strength and health. And this is why the Quran and Sunnah, they are full of guidance, guidelines, instruction, teaching concerning pertaining to what? Money. Not spirit, not ibadah, dhikrness, but what? Money. I don't understand this, the importance of money. We've done many classes and many khutbahs on this, about the importance of money and the necessity of money. And not just money or health with regards, healthy economic or financial, well-being, but we said strong. And the strange, crazy thing is that if you look at how the people idolize Saudi Arabia and idolize Medina and idolize those mashaykh and so on and so forth and the Islamic University, all of that is based off of what? So if you want to blindly follow someone and imitate someone and idolize someone and hero worship someone, why don't you take the good from that at least? And realize that you can't come back without no money. And you need money for your library, for your masjid, for your dawah. Money is needed. And Islam gives guidance to the straightest path with regards to money. The do's, the don'ts, the ups and the downs. And from that is Kitabul Buyur. And we explained this, I think it was last week? We're talking about the rich heritage and the rich history of Muslims being traders. And how with many Muslims, Central Asia, it's inseparable. You go there, the Muslims are traders. They're well-known traders. Oftentimes, some of the people that you came across when you first became a Muslim, or you were born Muslim, but you start practicing Islam, you learned about knowledge, was a trader. Is this not the case? Atlantic Avenue, the old Bengali sheikh with the red beard, you walk into his shop. As soon as you walk in, you smell the oil, the prayer rugs, the khamis, the dhikr the this and that. He's a what? A tajir, a trader. Where'd you get this from? I want one. Does it fit me? Right? Is this not the case? And you were fascinated by all the different exotic things in his shop. And in another store, the Muslims are historically known as being some of the best traders in the world. That's a fact. All right? So the importance of money, the necessity of money, and the importance of buying and selling and strong commerce. You're not going to find a successful country except that it has what? Powerful commerce, powerful trading. We explained this, right? Many, many times before. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Okay. So therefore, Kitab al-Buyu is very important. And of course, there are foundations. There are things that you need to learn to make a blueprint or a skeleton with regard a bedrock of Buyur. And then there are other issues in which you branch off in, like anything else in fiqh. All right, khair inshallah. So therefore, the first chapter, he says, this is going to be a long, long introduction, just on Buyur. And the importance of Buyur. The importance of buying and selling, right? And how buying and selling can free you from the yoke of a haram job, or the slavery of a 9-to-5 job. Wallahu a'lam. Babu ibtali bay'i al-mulamasati wal-munabadati. Hadith Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam naha an al-mulamasa wal-munabadha. Hadith Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu qala yunha an siyamaini wa bay'ataini al-fitri wal-nahri wal-mulamasati wal-munabadati. حديث أبي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قال نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن لبستين وعن بيعتين. نهى عن الملامسة والمنابذة في البيع. والملامسة لمس الرجل ثوب الآخر بيده بالليل أو بالنهار ولا يقلبه إلا بذلك. والمنابذة أن ينبذ الرجل إلى الرجل بثوبه وينبذ الآخر ثوبه ويكون ذلك بيعهما من غير نظر ولا تراض. واللبستين اشتمال الصماء والصماء أن يجعل ثوبه على أحد عاتقيه فيبدو أحد شقيه ليس عليه ثوب. واللبسة الأخرى احتباؤه بثوبه وهو جالس ليس على فرجه منه شيء. Chapter 1 says the prohibition of selling by mulamasa and munabadha. The first chapter doesn't speak on the virtue of buying and selling, doesn't talk about the conditions of buying and selling, it doesn't talk about the thaman and the muthman, etc. It talks about two types of prohibited transactions. And those are that which is called mulamasa. Obviously coming from lams, to touch, to rub, to feel. And munabadha, obviously coming from throwing, pelting, tossing, flicking. Nabadha. To hurl something. طيب, inshallah. Khairan, inshallah. All right. So these types of contracts or bargains are prohibited. Why is this the first chapter? We'll get there. So let's read the translations. Hadith number 965, and alhamdulillah, we're coming up on the 1,000 hadith landmark, milestone, alhamdulillah. Is narrated by Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade selling by mulamasa and munabadha. Hadith 966 is narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Two fasts and two kinds of sale are forbidden. Fasting on the day of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. And the kinds of sale called mulamasa and munabadha. Hadith 967 is narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade two ways of wearing clothes and two kinds of dealings. He forbade the dealings of mulamasa and the munabadha. And the mulamasa transaction, the buyer just touches the garment he wants to buy at night or by daytime, and that touch would oblige him to buy it. In the munabadha, it says here, and that's a mistake in the Roman transliteration, it's munabadha, not manabadha. One man throws his garment at another, and the latter throws his at the former, and the barter is complete and valid without examining the two objects or being satisfied with them. And the second, as far as the two types of clothing or wearing of clothes that are prohibited, ishtimal as-samma, the wearing of clothes in two ways: to cover one shoulder with a garment and leave the other bare, to wrap oneself with a garment while sitting in such a way that nothing of the garment would cover one's private parts. Okay, so Nawawi here, rahimahullah ta'ala, he goes on to explain the meaning of the word bay', coming from ba'. And ba' is one of the words of a hand, a palm. And one of the reasons why it's called bay' is that oftentimes people, when they made a sale, they would shake on it, right? Everybody with me or not? Like the Hyundai sign. You ever look at the Hyundai? The H is representative and symbolic of what? You never knew that? Oh yeah. Google it. Iowa. Two men shaking hand, representing a wholesome contract. That's the Hyundai sign. Fadal, a bit. Tell us, yeah. There are many hidden, encrypted messages and car company emblems and logos. That's all I'll say right now. We don't go too deep down the rabbit hole. Your Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, the rising sun of Nissan, Mitsubishi, right? And the list goes on. Okay, Chrysler, the list goes on. Fadda, what you got?
The logo loosely resembles two silhouettes shaking hands. This is a nod to Hyundai's commitment to customer service and teamwork.
You can take this faida from me for what?
Free.
For free.
No sponsorship.
The rest of them you got to pay for. But this faida is what? Hadiyati lakum. It's my gift to you. So the next time you're in traffic, you be like, man, this guy Mufti, you messed my head up, man. He got me looking. Tayyib, al-muhim is the concept of the ba' touching the other. Ba'. And similar is the what? Bay'. An oath of fealty, allegiance. I throw my gauntlet down on the ground, right? We'll go to war with you. Now, all right, I'm with you. I give my oath of allegiance to hear, to obey, to follow. When it's easy, when it's difficult, as long as it's not haram. I give you my bay'ah. And obviously the bay'ah, oftentimes the Sahaba, they did what? They put their hands in the Prophet's hands. Naam? And as Aisha radiallahu anha narrated, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's hand, his noble, sacred hand, never touched the hand of a woman that was prohibited to him. For those who say that you can shake a woman's hand, and the hadith about being stuck in the head is da'if, etc., etc., etc. If there was a time in which it was important for the Prophet to touch the women's hands, he would have done it when? If it was okay, like these people want to make everything's halal, everything. The beard, music, nothing is haram. It's all, Wahhabi propaganda. Nothing is haram in Islam. Just, if'al wala haraj. Adi, yani. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ, he never touched those women's hands. But he would just, that's it, as Aisha narrated, all right? But the men, they would do what? So that's where the word bait comes from, the back, the hand, all right? Right, moving forward. That's with regards to the lugha. Then, An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, we discussed this the other day. Interesting, not to start no wars. Right, let's keep it simple, Let's keep it clean, inshallah. No aqidah right now. All right, so, he goes on to mention the different interpretations of mulamasa and munabadha. No matter what the interpretation is, it goes back to, or it's rooted in ignorance of what you're getting and what you're paying for. You come in my store, anything that you touch, you buy. You close your eyes or it's dark, you grab it, done. You have to buy it, no matter what. Munabadha, any throw that I throw at you or toss at you, you have to what? It's yours. Light, heavy, expensive, al-muhim. That's how we do things here in this country. This is our culture. You think I want to sit in my shop, bored all day? How much? No, we have a little what? We have a little fun. And anyone who goes to a country as a tourist, he's always going to visit the traditional souk and the old school bazaar. Is this not the case? You have the modern stuff, the Western stuff, but you want to go where they have the carpets and you walk under the, right? You want to see the traditional marketplace full of life. And this one is selling a pot, a lizard, a sword, a gun, a da-da-da-da-da. They love that, the cultural authenticity. And from that, we're walking through the marketplace. Hey, what is this? Give me, right? 10 ruples. Give me such and such. Give me such and such. You guys get the point? So whatever the case is, munabadha and mulamasa is you going into a contract, a sale, a bargain without the necessary knowledge and the necessary consent. The taradin. Everyone understand this? Whether it's touching it at night, in the daytime, throwing it, grabbing it, al-muhim. Everybody clear on this? That's what's important. And obviously, as we're going to explain, many things are going to be included in this in our modern day time, 2023. You can't just buy something, a surprise or potluck or whatever the case may be. But the contract in itself has to be based off of knowledge. What you're getting, what you're spending, what you're expecting, etc., etc., etc. All right, khayr inshallah. That's going to come. As far as the two types of dress, the ishtimal al-samma, then what's meant by that is a man wearing a garment and a manner in which his private parts will become exposed. You wrap it up like this, you wear it like this, and when you sit down or stand up, obviously this was back in the day before there was standardized wearing of underpants or undergarments, underwear, drawers, whatever you want to call it. People just, wore a kilt or tunic or izar or whatever. And how oftentimes what? If you sat in a certain way, you didn't dress in a certain way, your outward would be exposed. So that's prohibited. And one may say this proves the virtue of the modern culture of wearing underwear, in which your clothes you're to be covered no matter what. All right. Khayr inshallah ta'ala. Let's just focus on the buying and the selling right now. Okay? Tayyib. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he states other interpretations with regards to once I throw it to you, you no longer have the choice of getting out of the contract, whether this or that, it's all based off of, he says, وَهَذَا الْبَيْءُ إيش باطل للغرر, the lack of proper knowledge, the lack of proper knowledge. All right, let's move forward, inshallah ta'ala. Next chapter says, باب تحريم بيع حبل الحبلة. حديث عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن بيع حبل الحبلة وكان بيعا يتبايعه أهل الجاهلية. كان الرجل يبتاع الجزور إلى أن تنتج الناقة ثم تنتج التي في بطنها. The prohibition of sale called حبل الحبلة, the sale of what is in the womb of an animal. I have a cow, a heifer, she goat, whatever, a ewe, right? What's a ewe, Ahmed? Yeah. Now how you spell it?
It's Y-E-W.
Y
E-W.
E W.
Is it a hybrid between... No, I got it.
Anybody else? I'm sorry? E W E. Ah, no Y. طيب. And what is a ewe? Baby goat. Anybody else? You got the spelling right. Anybody else? Google. I like it, we Google. When in doubt, Sheikh Google, huh?
It's a female sheep.
A female sheep. Ah, that's another fact that you guys can what? For free. All right? Tell you. What's important is a she camel, a ewe, whatever, a heifer, she's pregnant. I sell you the animal, but the hidden clause or the known clause is also what? Or when that baby gives birth to another. Iowa. So a person may say you're getting 2 animals for the price of 1 or 3. And if and when she gives birth, you also have to pay me for that, so on and so forth. All right? Narrated Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade the sale called habl al-habala, which was a kind of sale practice in pre-Islamic period of ignorance. One would pay the price of a she-camel which was not born yet, but would be born by the immediate offspring of an extinct she-camel. Okay. Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says regarding these discussions, Bayt al-Hasat, the stones, Mulabasa, he says, وأما النهي عن بيع الغرر فهو أصل عظيم من أصول كتاب البيوع ولهذا قدمه مسلم ويدخل فيه مسائل كثيرة غير منحصرة. أصل عظيم عمدة في الباب كبيع العابق والمعدوم والمجهول وما لا يقدر على تسليمه وما لم يتم ملك البائع عليه وبيع السمك في الماء الكثير واللبن في الضرع وبيع الحمل في البطن وبيع بعض الصبرة مبهما وبيع ثوب من أثواب وشاه من شياه ونظائر ذلك وكل هذا بيعه باطل لأنه غرر من غير حاجة وقد يحتمل بعض الغرر بيعا إذا دعت إليه حاجة كالجهل بأساس الدار وكما إذا باع الشاة الحامل والتي في ضرعها لبن فإنه يصح للبيع لأن الأساس تابع للظاهر من الدار ولأن الحاجة تدعو إليه فإنه لا يمكن رؤيته وكذا القول في حمل الشاة ولبنها وكذلك أجمع المسلمون على جواز أشياء فيها غرر حقير منها أنهم أجمعوا على صحة بيع الجبة المحشوة ولم يرتشق إلى آخره. طيب. No, he states that something which is called gharar, and for the student of knowledge or the 9 to 5 Muslim, you're going to need this word gharar, and gharar basically means ignorance. It basically means it's too dark outside and you can't see. Your high beams aren't working. It's too foggy. I don't know what's in front of me. You are ignorant of the ins and the outs of the product or the cost or the contract or the agreement. Even if it's a percentage. 75% is known, but there's 25% of it, which is what? Unknown, what you're getting or what you're spending. Everyone understand this? So you buying something which is dubious, murky, dodgy. And there are many different things included in this. All right? From that, it's selling something that you don't have your hands on. Everyone understand this? Something that you don't have your hands on. He mentions a runaway slave. I want to sell you a slave of mine who's on the run. Will the bounty hunter catch him? Will he kill the bounty hunter? Will he make it to safety? Will he make it to the north? Who knows? And now you're stuck with something that I myself cannot what? Provide and deliver. He says something that doesn't exist, something that you don't have the ability to give, such as fish in an abundance of water. If it's a little bit of water, maybe. But in a big, huge pond, I'll sell you this fish. I'll sell you this catfish in this river. The river is huge. How do you know you're going to catch the catfish? Which catfish are you going to catch? You get the point. Or a bird in the air. Right? You don't have no ability. There's no guarantee that you're going to what? That you're going to get it. He says here, selling the fetus, selling the baby in the womb, in the stomach. And then this goes on and on and on and on. And obviously there are many things online that a person is going to deal with, and which includes what? This concept of blindness. And this concept of lack of knowledge of what you're getting and what you're getting into. And that is why if you look on online platforms, they always give the description of the product. The dimensions, the weight, the color, the size, in ounces, in grams. Is this not the case? And which they're making sure that you realize this is what you're what? This is what you're getting. And if you were tricked or deceived, the wrong thing, wrong color, wrong size, you are entitled to return, cancellation. Everybody understand this? And oftentimes many sellers, they'll tell you the color may vary. It's a natural wood. It's a natural stone. It's natural leather. It may be darker. It may be lighter. But in general, it's not going to leave one of these two. Everyone understand this? Like, he then says many examples: selling a house along with the foundation, what's underground, you don't know. Selling an animal is pregnant, you didn't know, there's milk, etc., etc., etc. All right, that's point number one, and that is a maxim of contracts. No contract, no bargain, no sale is lawful if it includes gharar. End of discussion. As far as slight gharar haqir, then that's lawful. He says, and the Muslims have unanimously agreed upon this, such as a cell phone contract or all you can eat. How is it permissible for you to pay $8.99 or $10.99 for all you can eat lunch? Everyone understand this? Remember back in the day in The Simpsons? It's a famous episode. Homer he did what? He went to a restaurant, he paid all you can eat. He paid a base fee. And he kept eating and eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. And they ran out of food. And the people in the restaurant, they wanted to kick him up like, we have no more. And you know what Homer did? He took him to court. He sued him. And that's because it said what? All you can eat. So for sure, him paying the base price, how much is he going to eat? That includes some type of what? No doubt. There's ignorance there. We don't know how much you want to eat. But they estimated. They what? They estimated. Your cell phone bill. You pay for unlimited data. Some brothers, they promise unlimited data, but then they cancel you by then. How do you know how much data you're going to spend during the month? Do you know? You pay a flat rate. What are you paying for? How much are you paying for? But obviously, if the company offers it, they're not what? They're not losing. They've taken into consideration, they've gauged it. The all-you-can-eat buffet. They're not going to put out so on and so forth. So there are times in which these issues, something being unknown something being you being blind, in which if it's slight, it's okay. But if it's a lot, then it's what? Totally okay. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this so far? All right, moving forward. وأجمعوا على بطلان بيع الأجنة في البطون والطير في الهواء. قال العلماء مدار البطلان بسبب الغرر والصحة مع وجوده على ما ذكرناه، وأنه إذا اندعت حاجة إلى ارتكاب الغرر ولا يمكن الاحتراز عنه إلا بمشقة كان الغرر حقيرا جاز البيع وإلا فلا. Okay, so therefore, if it's little, and if there's a need, and avoiding it is difficult, then it's okay. Everybody understand the conditions of it? Of a contract that includes something, an open end, with regards to the payment, or with regards to the product or the service. Number one, if there is a need. Number two, if that which is unknown is small. And number three, it's very hard to step to the side. فهمنا؟ لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. All right, inshallah, that's yakfi now. That's enough for now. Fadal.
For example, you want to buy something they don't have, and they say like, oh, if you want this, pay deposit half of it, and then the other half when I bring it.
That's fine with the condition that you'll be fully refunded if and when they can't.
Provide.
And that they're going to provide what you agreed on. I never ordered this one. I said I wanted to, with the different color interior. So hey, I ordered what? The cranberry with the wood grain, right? You gave me peanut butter. Nothing wrong with peanut butter, but I didn't what? It's not what I ordered, right? Tell you, cerulean blue was supposed to be the color. Futuristic. You gave me, not best, but that's not what I ordered, right? So therefore, I want my money back. Also, a person telling you and stipulating that if and when we find it, and the deposit is obviously an incentive for him to get started, and your deposit will be, and they're not going to play around with your money and hold your money. Oh, it's processing my foot. Give me my money back. All right, we understand this? And the time in which they have to find what you're looking for should be known and established. You got 1 month to find it, and if not, Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khair, inshallah. We'll stop here. Leave some time for a few questions if we have.